back, everyone. Moms today are managing so much, way more than they can handle. And here today with her latest book, Stretched Too Thin, How Working Moms Can Lose the Guilt, Work Smarter, and Thrive is best-selling author Jessica Turner. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you.
Such a great book. I mean, it really is. I mean, let's go through this for a second. You, for example, you juggle a full-time job, an online business, a family, a husband, and we all know how much effort those take.
Oh, boy. It's like having another child.
And three active kids. It's a lot. I don't know how you do it. So the question really is, are moms just trying to take on too much these days?
I don't think they're trying to take on too much, but I think that they're giving themselves a lot of additional stress by thinking they have to be perfect at it all. Instead of just being comfortable with good enough is good enough. Like, we're striving for this highlight reel on Instagram that isn't real life, and using that as our benchmark for how we should be living.
And we set ourselves up to fail, unfortunately, because we set it so high that it's almost impossible.
It really does feel that way. And so that's what I set out to do in Stretched Too Thin. I surveyed 2,000 working moms to find out what their biggest struggles were, what their pain points were, and then talk about how can we navigate each of these struggles so that we don't feel like we're just barely hanging on, just barely surviving, but instead really thriving.
So the book is really, it's a handbook, really, with solutions for moms' most pressing problems. Or truthfully, not just moms, anyone could read this and say, I mean, you could read it.
No, I think I mean, we'll get to that too for sure. I believe that everybody could relate to this, but I like that you're emphasizing and focusing on moms. But
so how do we use the book?
Yeah, I think using it as a guidebook is a really great way of doing it. So the two biggest pain points that moms identified was managing their homes and self-care, right? Like, we could have done this without a survey and said, those are our two biggest struggles. But then there's, you know, feeling like you're a good mom, dealing with those emotions like guilt and comparison and exhaustion. Work boundaries, like leaving work at work was another one. Making time for friendship, like all of these are hard struggles. And you're not going to just see my story, but the stories of so many other working moms in a variety of different situations saying, here's how I do it, here's some changes I can make, and really figure out what's the best plan for you.
I mean, it's difficult because the minute you start to have time for friendships, you say, well, I'm taking time away from my children and my husband, and then the guilt comes in again. I mean,
totally
riddled with guilt.
I know. I had so many women say to me, you know, I feel like I can't leave because I've been gone all day at work. And so I feel like I can't go be with my girlfriends. But here's the thing. Our kids need to see us investing in our friends. They need to see us making time for friendships because that's healthy and that's normal. We let them go hang out with their friends. Why shouldn't mommy go and do that every now and again?
Do you know what we do?
Right?
Orly and me and Paige and Kim, we hang out here after the show because we feel like, well, at least we're still at work.
There's nothing wrong with that, right?
You know what I mean? This is girls' time.
In the makeup trailer.
Is that why I haven't been invited?
Sorry, Cam. It's just the girls. But truthfully, Orly, you have two beautiful children at home. You have a wonderful husband. You also have two full-time jobs. What do you do when you feel like you're starting to get stretched too thin?
You know, I don't know that I actually have a solution for it. I usually get super overwhelmed. I find myself getting stressed. I sort of, I get like emotional. I get like, when I get stressed out. And I think the thing for me that stresses me out is when, you know, in the title of your book, you talk about working smarter. And I think what's hard is the times when I'm home that I have to work. I have a YouTube channel, so it's editing those videos and taking the time to try to build social media because that's such a big part of our business and our career now. So that's when I feel bad, when I feel like I'm home, but I'm still doing something on the computer. And so that's where I feel like I need advice, is how to work smarter in that sort of gray area when I'm not just at work. So no one expects me to be mom. I'm home
But there's lots of moms like you, right, who have home businesses. And so I think that it's okay to explain to your kids that even though you're here, you're working, and explaining to them what is the work that you're doing and why it matters and why it brings you joy. Like, we all have passions. It's so amazing that you're doing work that you love. And so explaining that to your kids and bringing them along for the journey is part of that.
I think that's great advice. One time I read one of my scripts with my daughter. I included her because I needed time to read the script. I needed to hang out with my daughter. But we read it together, and we were trying to figure out the characters and getting her advice, and that it's sort of in line with that. Like, oh my God, she was in heaven.
I have a blog, and I do the same thing. I'll involve my kids in doing photo shoots and that sort of thing, and I explain to them, people are going to see you guys doing this, and then they're going to do that same thing with their family.
Yeah, that's a really great idea.
Deb, I got to ask you, you talked about being a working mom, but I'd love to hear, like, what would you say your biggest challenges are with being a working mom?
Gosh, I mean, I think every working mom could probably answer the same. Mine right now is, it really breaks my heart not being able to be present when the other moms can be present. So then I have to hear about it from the other moms, or you know what I mean? Like, they'll have, I know it's ridiculous, and she's in preschool, so it's not even real life.
But it's like you want to be there.
But I want to be there because I don't want to be the only mom who's not there and have her remember, but my mommy wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it's just what I mean, if you're a working mom, that's just the fact of the matter. My mom was like that. My sister says to me, buck up, you got to be strong, you know, don't feel guilty. And it's easy to say that, but it still breaks my heart.
Yeah. So I've been there. I have cried about the same stuff. And I think that you maybe pick, is there one or two things that I can make, that you make your work schedule align with that? You know that there's going to be a Valentine's party that you want to be at, or you know that there's going to be, you know, the big celebration at the end of the year, and you say, this is a day that I'm going to take the day off of work so that I can be there for it. Yeah. But you also talk to her about the work that you're doing, kind of the same advice, right, and why that makes a difference, and then you make your own memories. Those memories of you being her mom aren't tied to school. They're tied to her life. They're tied to her life.
And even I was thinking too, as you're saying that, and that is just giving me advice as well. But like when she's here with you, and like those special experiences that like the other kids don't
no one
get to
has
have.
that experience.
Okay.
She's going to remember you totally in her life, not just at one school event that I promise you she's not going to remember. How many events do you remember from when you were 4? None.
None, but I didn't go to the Spring Fever play, and I will never forget not being at the Spring Fever play.
It's lost. How do you like having your therapy sessions on camera in front of America right now?
But I'm not alone.
You are not alone. We all have felt that way. We have all felt that way. And I think that's a sign of a great mom, right?
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I think that shows how much you love her. And I think that's just it. We all are great moms, and you are the best mom for her. And so you're the best mom for her in the job that you have. Right?
Thank you.
And I'm going to jump in and just say one of my takeaways in this conversation, not being a mom, but being a dad, is that I think, you know, in many ways, and I think a lot of dads try, I certainly do, is that it's kind of time for dads to really try to continue to step up and take some of the load off of the moms out there. And of course, a lot of us are, but it's one of my main objectives in life, not only to be a hands-on parent, which I really, I'm proud of myself to be, but also specifically to be a hands-on parent in a way that takes the load off of my wife, Vanessa, so that she can go out with her friends and do things like that. And I've got, you know, room to grow, but I'm working at it. And that's a big takeaway I get from this. So.
Yeah, and that's a huge takeaway in the book.
That's true.
My husband's the same way. And I think also we as moms have to vocalize when we need the help, right?
Because we don't.
So we don't. And my husband's amazing, but he's not a mind reader.
Right.
And so I need to say to him, hey, can you do this because this is going on and I don't have the capacity for
And we also need to allow ourselves to do it, because my husband has said before, go with your girlfriends, take a girlfriend weekend. I was like, without the baby, never.
Right.
I said, what are you saying?
Self-imposed exile.
Right.
We could literally keep talking about this probably for the rest. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom and helping lots of people.